What's going on, Dolphins fans? It is your boy Dillon, and I am back for another one because I found a couple other articles that I want to mush together really fast. They're both short, they're both quick, they're closely related or similar, sort of related, whatever. So I wanted to put them together. I thought it would actually be a good little mix. So let's get right into it. The first one is they're both from Bleacher Report, and they're both articles to the effect of, you know, the one thing that every team blah blah blah, right? And this one, it's the one move that every team should avoid, right? So I'm only gonna obviously go over the Dolphins, the things that the Dolphins should avoid, and the next one I'll only focus on the Dolphins as well because that's what's relevant. But in this one, the Miami Dolphins forcing a quarterback pick in the top 5. Like other quarterback-needy teams this year, the Miami Dolphins would be unwise to go through the entire draft without taking a chance on a signal caller. Ryan Fitzpatrick is not a long-term answer, and Josh Rosen doesn't appear to be either. However, it could be an even bigger mistake to use a top 5 pick on a quarterback the Dolphins don't feel comfortable with, and both Tua Tagovailoa and Justin Herbert carry serious questions. Tagovailoa's injury history is well documented. While Herbert is healthy and has plenty of physical upside, he lacks the intangibles great quarterbacks usually possess. I think he's stiff, he's analytical, he doesn't post-snap process, one NFC coach said per NFL Media's Tom Pelissero. I don't think he anticipates and throws well in windows versus zone. The 5th overall pick in this draft class is far too valuable to waste on a quarterback the Dolphins aren't sold on. If they're not comfortable with the signal callers who are available there, they should take the best player available or trade down. Miami could grab a guy like Utah State's Jordan Love later in the first round, or bag a prospect like Jake Fromm later in the draft. Now, I read that in part because, as you guys know, just real quick, my general philosophy, is never take a quarterback in round 1 or 2. Take one every year in round 3 or later, depending on how bad you need one. And then never chase a guy, right? And fill out the rest of your roster, especially with the top end talent, right? And so I think that that's what the Dolphins should do anyway. I think they should trade back, or they should just pick, best player available at number 5, at number 18, at number 26, right? Particularly at areas of need, the best talent at, let's say, offensive line, pass rusher, right? Things like that. Anyway, so totally agree with that. Now, are the Dolphins going to do that? We'll have to wait and see. But we only have a few more days because the draft is coming up on Thursday. So it is going to be massively interesting. Now, the next article, and the reason why I'm reading these together is because this one talks about one trade that every team should do. And so this is a scenario in which the Dolphins trade up to the number 1 spot. So you can see why I said it would be relevant to the other one. That one's talking about they shouldn't, chase a quarterback. Essentially, they're only talking limiting it to the top 5. I would say don't chase a quarterback in round ever, period, and don't take one in rounds 1 or 2. Don't trade up to get a guy. I'm not really a fan of trading up for anybody. That doesn't even really apply to just quarterbacks, just anybody. I'm more of a trade down guy. Stay put or trade down and accumulate more assets. But it also depends on how you build the rest of your team and how you operate in other areas like free agency. How do you deal with that and other things? Anyway, so in this, the Dolphins trade pick number 5, pick number 18, and pick number 26 overall. So all of our first round picks from this year and a second round pick in 2021 to the Bengals for the number 1 overall pick. And this is what they have to say. This piece has already featured one trade involving the Dolphins moving up to draft a quarterback, which, if I'm not mistaken, was 3 to the Detroit Lions, with the Detroit Lions, and I believe it was to get Tua. I don't recall off the top exactly, but I think that's what they had in here. But what if the Phins decide they want to drop a draft day A-bomb and trade up for the quarterback, right? And see, and that's the thing. That's part of why I believe that they are going to do that. because I don't think Stephen Ross wants to settle for anything less than the quarterback in this draft class. And Tua's probably not in it anymore because of his injuries. And Herbert, while he has been rising up boards and the Dolphins apparently really like him, Joe Burrow is still the presumptive, number 1 overall pick and the best quarterback in this class. So I absolutely could see Stephen Ross being so desperate that he just pulls the fucking owner card and is like, especially because that's what all this has been for, is to get the supposed guy of the future. Anyway, so pulling the trigger and be like, Greer, Marvin Allen, Reggie McKenzie, Brian Flores, go get this guy. And he's going to tell him, this is the quarterback I want. I think at this point it's Burrow. And he's going to be like, go get him. And they're going to be like, well, how much do you want to pay? And he's going to say, I don't care. I don't care. This is what we did this for. Everything last year was to set us up for this scenario where everybody on the outside can believe that we didn't tank because we, lied to them, to their faces, despite the fact that our actions prove otherwise, and the things that we did fundamentally prove it, right? But we can make them believe it since we won 5 games, and then, but we can have our cake and eat it too, because now we can move up to the number 1 spot to get the guy, right? So I think, now again, are there possibilities that they stay put or they trade back, or that they trade to the number 3 spot instead, or that they take somebody else? There are a million different possibilities. I think that's what they're going to end up doing. It would be a blockbuster in every sense of the word. Bengals head coach Zach Taylor has already indicated that Cincinnati isn't especially interested in offers for the pick that is 100% going to be LSU quarterback Joe Burrow. Let's just note really quick that from my what I've seen, now obviously I haven't seen every article that exists or every comment or quote, but from what I've seen, it appears as though in all the articles and stuff that I've read, or at least the majority of them, it appears that the coaches or possibly even GMs are saying, we don't want to mortgage the farm or blah, 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 or I don't want to give this pick away. But if the owner tells them, do it, what do you think these guys are going to be like? No. If the Bengals owner was like, bro, that's 3 first-round picks and we only have to drop to number fucking 5. What do you mean? And it's a second-round pick. I don't care if you want to fucking stay put at number 1 and take Burrow. I don't give a fuck. You know why? Because I'm the owner and I pay your fucking paycheck. So you're going to trade that pick away to the dumbass fucking Dolphins who are willing to give away that much draft capital just to go get one fucking dude who has absolutely no guarantee of being supposedly the guy and completely turning, nor do, Kyle Van Noy and Shaq Lawson and Eric Flowers, nor do any of those guys have a guarantee on them that they're going to perform, Byron Jones, to the level 1 that you want them to, or 2 that would be expected of them based off of the contracts that they signed. So anyway, continuing on. However, were Miami to dangle a package that includes 3 first-rounders and a top 5 pick to a Bengals team with holes all over the place, Cincinnati would at least consider it. It's a knee buckler of a price tag, but if Chris Greer and Brian Flores believe that Burrow will be the NFL's next great young quarterback, then it's worth it. No price is too high for solving the quarterback position for a decade. So obviously you guys know that that's the part where I completely disagree. Because again, the Browns, for example, they are the team that supposedly has done the tanking process right, and we're supposed to look at to as to how the Dolphins are going to fare, even though we did a tank far greater than they did. But where are they now? They're in year 5 of their rebuild. It's been a total fucking disaster. And they just fired their head coach. I mean, it's a fucking mess there. But let's also note that they have how many quarterbacks did the Browns take over the past like 2 decades in round 1 to try and solve that problem? How many quarterbacks did they chase, including Johnny Manziel, to see if they could get it? I think the number is like, it's over 10 for sure, but I want to say, if I remember correctly, I could totally be wrong about this, but I think it's something like 15 or 17 guys that they tried to get in rounds 1, guys that they traded up to get, etc., etc., etc. And there clearly is a price that is too high to pay. All of those picks and all of those things that they did but it's also the off-season moves, right? Because, for example, if the Dolphins do trade up, let's say, to the number 1 pick to take Burrow, whatever, it was the off-season moves that they did and the tanking and shit from last year that helped to facilitate it. Right? So it's not just the draft capital that they give away, but it was the shitty season from last year. It was the tanking. It was getting rid of all of those good proven players. It's all of that. All of that is tied into the price. You can't say, because that was a price of getting to where we are now. So there absolutely is a price that is too high. And then there's case after case after case after case that shows that when you fuck that up, when you take that big of a risk, when you put all of your eggs in that one fucking basket, well, when a fucking boulder falls on that basket of eggs, well, there goes all your fucking eggs, and it's for a very long time, especially when, anyway, you decide to fucking dig a hole so deep it goes to fucking the other side of the world, right? So anyway, I don't think it's a good idea, but look, hey, today is happy 420, by the way, but today is April 20th. That means we have 3 days left until we know what the Dolphins do. Do they trade up? Do they stay put? Do they trade back? Who do they take? How do they handle this? And so, look, we will find out, and we will find out very soon. I hope you guys join me. I will be doing, no matter what, I will be doing some bit of a live stream and watching some bit of the draft in the first round. I will also be doing rounds day 2 and day 3 unquestionably. But like I said before, I might have a minor scheduling issue, but I am working that out. I will at least do some of it, so join me for that regardless. And it's going to be exciting. Either way, we're going to be talking about it. We're going to know after Thursday what it is the Dolphins do. And so let's get ready, man. It's almost here. All right, with that, I'm going to get up out of here. I hope you guys enjoy my videos and perspective. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. And of course, as always, make sure you follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. And with that, I am out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up.